Tonight, the fight over Virginia's congressional districts is escalating.
And civil rights groups are stepping into the legal battle as Democrats push the U.S. Supreme Court to restore a voter-approved redistricting measure.
Layla Cox is in the studio with what could happen next. Layla.
Well, Dana and Janet, Virginia's redistricting controversy may soon land before the nation's highest court. State Democrats filed an emergency appeal asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn a Virginia Supreme Court ruling that blocked a voter-approved referendum on congressional maps. Now the NAACP and Advancement Project are backing that effort.
What we expect from the courts is to be sensitive to the precepts that are laid down in our U.S. Constitution and a correct interpretation of those things that are in our Constitution and the Commonwealth of Virginia.
The fight over Virginia's congressional districts is shaping into a national political and legal fight. On Wednesday, the NAACP and the nonprofit Advancement Project filed an amicus brief supporting Virginia Democrats in their appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. At the center of the dispute is a statewide referendum approved by voters that redrew Virginia's congressional districts. The redrawn maps would favor Democrats in 10 of 11 of Virginia's congressional seats.
We compare some of the things that have happened in Virginia with what happened in Louisiana and Calais and other places throughout the nation. We are in a battle.
The Virginia Supreme Court struck down the referendum, ruling lawmakers acted improperly because early voting had already started before the measure advanced. Republicans say the ruling protects the state constitution and election procedures, but civil rights groups argue it overturned the will of millions of Virginians.
And we in the NAACP Virginia State Conference look upon this as voter suppression on steroids.
In the legal filing, groups argue the Virginia Supreme Court adopted an unprecedented definition of the word election that conflicts with the state and federal law. But supporters of the ruling disagree, saying the issue is procedural.
There's nowhere really to go here. This case is over, and some people just aren't accepting it yet.
Former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli says the case should remain in the state court.
No disrespect to the NAACP. The fact is the U.S. Supreme Court does not have jurisdiction over a Virginia state constitutional issue.
Now, if the U.S. Supreme Court agrees to hear the appeal, the ruling could shape future redistricting fights nationwide and clarify how far courts can go in overturning voter-approved measures. Layla Cox, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Layla. If the Supreme Court declines to take the case, Virginia's current congressional map will stay in place for the next election cycle.